Yo, what's up guys? So I originally planned on making this video back in the office, but I'm out here in Bay City, Michigan with Jimmy Allen. We are here for a show, and then we'll be heading back to Nashville tonight and then back up to Wisconsin to see some family and do some work. And I'll meet back up with Jimmy in Wisconsin at Country Fest. We'll shoot Country Fest, we'll go down to Summerfest in Milwaukee, and then I will be heading back to Nashville once again. But let's talk about DaVinci Resolve. This is what we're all here for, so let's get into it. So we're gonna break this thing down into the three main things that I wish I knew about DaVinci Resolve coming from the Adobe Creative Cloud. And with those three things, I'm gonna talk about importing footage and how to create your timeline and adjust frame rates from like slow motion to regular motion, 24 frames a second, from 60 frames a second to 120 frames a second to 1000 frames a second, whatever you guys are shooting in. I'm going to teach you guys how to convert all of that, and then I'm going to teach you guys how to speed ramp with time curves and time remapping, because it's a little bit different and it's not the same, but it is the same. So I'll explain more in a second, and then we're going to go over a very basic color grade. Now I shoot everything in S-Log2 on my Sony a7R III. Now I'm going to break it down on how I grade S-Log2 on DaVinci Resolve with their coloring platform, which is absolutely amazing. So I'm excited to bring this video to you guys. Let me know what you think. Make sure you guys let me know in the description anything else you guys want to learn about DaVinci. Like I said, I'm going to start with the basics. Each video is going to just break it down more and more. So I'm going to break down the intro clip that I just played you guys, and I'm going to show you how I imported the footage, how I changed it from 120 frames a second to 24 frames a second, and how I color graded it, and how I speed ramped it. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so now that we are in DaVinci Resolve, as you can see, I've already imported 3 clips down here and some music. I don't want to waste too much time here. I want to keep these tutorials nice, short, and sweet, and to the point. So if you look down here in the bottom left, there's a media tab. You're going to click there. So when you're importing your footage, it's going to have all this right here on the left. It shows all of your hard drives and all of your USB drives or whatever you have plugged into your computer. I normally go through my 4 terabyte hard drive right here. I'd go down here, find all my footage, go through video, and import whatever it is I'm going to import. You can just grab what you need, you drag, and you drop it down into your folder. And I've created 2 folders, footage and music. You just right click, new bin, and you can name it anything. So let's just call this anything. And like all you do is drag and drop, drag whatever you need and drop. Highlight all your clips once they're in your folder. This is how you're going to change, and this is how you're going to change everything to 24 frames a second. What you're going to do is right click, and you're going to clip attributes, just like in Premiere Pro. You're going to go up here where it says video frame rate. It's going to be under custom, but now you want to put 23.976. That is going to change all of these selected clips to 23.976. So once you get everything inside of your folders here, you're going to go down to the edit page. And that's where you just click on your media pool right here. And that's going to bring up your files that you've created, your bins. And I have my footage. And I've brought in 3 clips right here. So we are going to start with this one. You double click it, we'll bring it up here. This is what you're editing and what you're working on. This will be your final output right here. And you can change that if you come up to the top right. This little box changes it to 1 screen. This will be your final output. 2 screens. This is what you're working on. This is your final output. So now I can change it to this one. I can change it to this one. So, but we're going to start with this one. And really all we're going to do, if you just look, boom, that's all I wanted. I wanted to cut on this beat right here. If you look right here, these are one thing that I absolutely love about DaVinci. So if having to play with the opacity or put an overlay on it or anything to make it fade in, you just pull that like that, pull that like that, and you can almost, I always like to go tweak the audio one like that a little bit and watch. Boom, beautiful fade in. So alright, now where the beat drops here and the beat drops here, we are going to speed ramp. To speed ramp, you right click it and you're going to go to retime curve. And that's going to bring this up. And this is where it kind of looks like the same as Premiere Pro, but it's a little bit different. You're going to come down here, and you're not going to do retime frame. You're going to do retime speed. Now, this adjusts your speed. I can go to 300% faster than what the clip already was. But if you want to increase that, you just pull on it to the right, and that's going to go up. So we want to put a keyframe right here, make it a bunch faster, and then we want to put a keyframe right there. And then we're going to pull this all the way back down. If you notice, these are very hard speed ramp there. It's a very hard speed ramp. So what we're going to do, click on the keyframe, and you click this button right there. And that is going to make it very nice, and almost like the ease in and ease out effect on there. Nice and smooth. And that is a little too fast, so what we're going to do is bring it down, and I'm going to click on this, and you can just move that keyframe. It's that simple. It's so easy. So now just boom. So now that we know how to keyframe, there you go. It's pretty simple. So now, if we want to just cut the music here. Alright, let's go over color grading next. So I'm going to color grade this clip right here, and I'm going to color grade this clip right here. So first, let's start with that. You're going to go down to here. You're going to go to color. All right, these are your 3 clips. If your clips aren't showing, you're going to come up here and click this in the right clips. So now, actually, you know what? We'll color grade this first one. Fades in to about right there. Now, I don't know. People all have their own way of color grading, but this is how I do it. So I always use the curves, and I use a little bit of contrast and some saturation. So I always start by putting 1.13 for contrast. Now that varies depending on what you're shooting, but for me it's mostly 1.13, and then I'll add about, saturation until I'm happy with it. So I'm going to go about 79 there, and we'll start playing with the curves. I'll bring up my shadows a little bit, but bring them down, bring up the highlights, and then I'll tweak the midtones where I think it needs to be. So I think that's good right there. And if we want to go for that classic teal and orange look, we'll come over here to the hues, select the blue, and you just move that up. And if we want to come over here, and we can increase the oranges and the yellows with the hue versus saturation tab. Now there isn't a whole lot of orange and yellow within this, and it makes a little bit of a difference. See these greens in the trees, we'll select that. And we can also make those a little bit more orange. Come over here to the lake, and we'll make that just a little bit more teal. And there we go. And that's kind of a really quick color grade. And one thing people often forget is I shoot my videos in S-Log 2, which has the sharpening turned all the way down. Sharpen it. This will be on blur. You're going to come over here to this little, I don't even know what that little raindrop and pyramid. You're going to come over here, go to sharpen. And you're just going to bring this down. I usually go about 0.41. So then we'll come to this one. Let's color grade this clip really quick. We'll do one more. We'll start with the curves. We're going to start on light, where you control your shadows, midtones, and highlights. We're going to put in 1.13 for contrast. I'm going to lift the bottom end of the shadows, but I'm going to bring down this the lower end here. Raise the highlights. And we're going to keep the midtones about right there. I'm happy with that. Now we're going to take the saturation. Let's bump that to about 75. Now we'll come back over here to the hues. Now watch this. We're going to select this, and we're going to pull it down and make that a nice teal. But we'll come over to here, hue to saturation, and we're going to actually select the teal again, but it's going to be actually really recognized as yellow because that's what it started at. Pull back the saturation. And we're going to come to hue versus the luma, control the lightness and darkness of it. We're going to bring it down. Now, let's go to hue versus hue again. We'll come over here, select the oranges, bring those up just a little bit. And then let's go to hue versus saturation and bring those oranges up. Now you got a nice teal and orange in a sense. We'll maybe make this just a little bit more teal. Boom. And that's all we need. Oh, we almost forgot to come over here. Go to sharpening and bring that to 41. Now I'm going to show you guys a trick. So we've color graded these 2 clips, but we still have this clip right here that needs to be color graded. And I want it to match more this one and this one because I don't want my leaves being super teal. I'd rather have them a little bit orange. So I can select this clip, and I can hold down Command or Control, and then select this clip, come up to color, and you go append node to selected clips. I have it as a shortcut as P, as you can see, but if you don't have it set up that way, you come down to the color tab, append node to selected clips. This will become, this little ring right here will become colored, and boom, it has been now a clip that's colored. See, now this is too orange for me, so let's come over here and go into hue versus hue, and we'll just bring that down to about right there. And maybe let's bring this sky back down a little bit, and there we go. And now we have a clip that is color graded. So that's pretty much the basics on speed ramping, importing footage, and changing the frame rates to 24 frames per second if that's what your timeline is set to, and a really quick color grading lesson right there. So I mean, another thing that I will quick show you guys is if you want to set your timeline settings up, you're going to go to project settings, and it all is right here. So for me, it's 1920 by 1080. I have my playback frame rate is going to be 24 frames per second, and video format 1080p 24 frames, and that's really all you need to know. I got it on 10-bit bilinear, and you just save that. So now your timeline settings will always be 24 frames per second, and that's really it. So there's our finished and that's really it. So there's nothing to it. DaVinci Resolve, it seems crazy at first. It seems like it's a lot more complicated. You know, we get into the Fusion tab if you look down here, and there's nodes, and we'll get into this in the future here. My next tutorial will be on what nodes are and how they work. Honestly, when it comes to the basics, it's just the same as Premiere Pro without the crashing, and it's much more simple. Like, I feel like they have listened to their customers, and I really enjoy it. I hope you guys like this tutorial. Make sure you guys put in the comments anything you want to know from DaVinci, and I'll make a tutorial on it. Like I said, this is going to be just the basics, the very bare minimum on this one. I have more coming out. We're going to cover Fusion. We're going to go in depth on color grading way more. We're going to cover Fairlight, and we're going to go into like compositing and adding in artificial elements into your videos. It's going to get very in depth, but I figure we better start at the basics and move forward. So I just want to say thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and share this video. It means a lot. Subscribe to stay along and watch more or catch up on the content we're going to be putting out. I'll be putting out more Jimmy Allen recap videos. I'll be putting out some cool travel films coming up here. This is just the start of the channel, so it's going to only grow, and I'm only going to get better, and you guys are only going to get better, and we're going to grow together. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.